This Mambo Seafood analysis presentation was created in partnership with the University of Houston's Conrad N. Hilton College. Today, we will be giving our recommendations and proposal for the Mambo Seafood location at 290 and Tidwell. Our research team is composed of 5 graduate students of the University of Houston's Conrad N. Hilton College: Joseph Lloyd, Zachary Anderson, Nat Nguyen, Kachalom Buba, and Shelby Allison. We will begin by providing a brief history of Mambo Seafood, after which we will present the Mambo mission statement, followed by the explanation of the methodology of our research. We will then move on to the brand identity prism, semiotic square, analysis of online customer reviews, and our serve-qual model. Lastly, we will be providing our gap analysis and further recommendations for the location of 290 and Tidwell. The Mambo Seafood Corporation was founded by Connie Ho in 1979 and originated under the name Connie's Seafood. In January of 1996, the company rebranded itself as Mambo Seafood and opened its first location on the southwest side of Houston. The Mambo Seafood Corporation currently operates 11 locations, spanning as far north as Greens Point to as far south as McAllen, Texas. The present-day Mambo Seafood provides a unique blend of Latin and Pacific influence into their atmosphere and menu items. The goal of Mambo Seafood Corporation is to create new and repeat guests by serving fresh seafood for everyone at incredibly affordable prices, with Mambonifico services provided by managers and team members who thrive in a culture of growth and opportunity. The methodology of our research is comprised of an analysis of 300 online reviews with a collective 50 hours of in-person observations. Using this information, we created a brand identity prism and a semiotic square to identify our customer base. The brand identity prism allows us to identify 6 key elements of Mambos and how they relate internally and externally to the consumer. Beginning on the external side of the prism, the physique of a location can be described as the tangible or physical aspects of the restaurant. We chose the words marketplace, clamorous, and garish to describe the aesthetic the location accomplishes by showing off its fresh seafood to purchase with loud music and bold colors. The relationship then describes the connection between the consumer and the brand itself. Words such as attentive, familia extendida, and informal describe the unique niche of an extended family that Mambos attempts to achieve with a large variety of meals that everyone can enjoy. The reflection of the consumer can be described as the pictured target demographic of Mambo Seafood. We chose the words blue-collar, family-focused, and budget-conscious to describe the hardworking man searching for value. We then move on to the internal half of the brand identity prism, beginning with the personality of the company. This can be described as mi tia, or my aunt, bona fide, and hedonistic. The reflection of the waitress's sisterly or aunt-like mannerisms when interacting with their guests creates the pleasurable feeling of being at home in a public establishment. The culture of Mambos can be described as mosaic, wholesale, and unstuffy. These words create the unique depth that Mambos accomplishes by blending together many backgrounds for a menu that satisfies large families at a reasonable price and in a casual setting. Lastly, the self-image details what Mambos consumers feel when they enjoy a meal at one of their many restaurants. By selecting the words cozy, humble, and breadwinner, it stitches together the roots of the Hispanic community with the image of a head of household figure. The semiotic square can be defined as a tool used in structural analysis of the relationships between semiotic signs through the opposition of concepts. On the left side of the Mambo semiotic square, we have neighborhood loyalty, which can be described as consumers who frequent the restaurant on a consistent basis. Across on the right side, we have cash flexibility, which encompasses the willingness of the consumer to spend their disposable income. On the top left side of neighborhood loyalty, we see the division between neighborhood locals, who can be described as anyone that lives near the location of 290 in Tidwell, and drive-by consumers that pass by the location often on their way to work. Moving to the right side of the model, we see the division of cash flexibility into the two subcategories of budgetarians, who can be described as individuals looking for the most bang for their buck, and fish connoisseurs, who are looking to fine dine on fresh seafood no matter the cost. At the top of the square, we see our frugalicious families. This category can be described as large social gatherings of family members that have many mouths to feed. Creating its own unique combination of neighborhood loyalty and cash flexibility, frugalicious families represent the La Familia that frequent the restaurant often and also stick to a strict budget. At the bottom of our square, we see the late-night riders. This category can be described as single men and women passing through town and looking for a delicious late-night meal. In opposition to the other constructed categories, late-night riders could represent anyone from a trucker to a traveling college student. In order to properly analyze the guests' perception of the restaurant, we sourced and examined a total of 300 online reviews. These included 18 reviews from Yelp, 201 from Google, and 52 from Facebook. After compiling the data, we found that 62% of consumers stated that their experience was positive and gave a 4 to 5 star rating. The remaining 38% of consumers stated that they had a negative experience and in turn gave a 1 to 3 star rating. With our analysis, we identified 5 significant service quality factors that aligned best with what we were consistently seeing in the online reviews. These 5 factors included that of food quality, time management, food accuracy, atmosphere, and customer etiquette. When looking at the 5 different categories to determine service quality, we were able to deduct the top 3 positive aspects of the 290 and Tidwell Mambo seafood location. Of the positive reviews, 21.9% mentioned the staff etiquette towards its customers. Many reviews mention how the wait staff was incredibly attentive, even when the restaurant was at its peak dining hours. 18.18% of our positive reviews also focused on the restaurant's time management and speed of service. They primarily spoke of how quickly the restaurant was able to take their orders and get hot, fresh food out on the table even though the restaurant was full. The most mentioned positive feature of Mambo Seafood, however, was that of their food quality. 89.9% of reviews mentioned how much they loved the quality of the fresh seafood, focusing primarily on the house rice and micaledas. When beginning our analysis of negative reviews, we found that customer service etiquette from the staff was one of the chief complaints, with 38.9% of negative reviews mentioning some form of interaction with a waitress or manager that left a bad taste in the customer's mouth. Followed by time management, 36.28% of customers reported that they received slow service. Mentions of this slow service had to do primarily with carry-out orders or on days when the restaurant was not so busy. The top-ranking negative service quality factor at 51.33% was that of food quality. This recurring complaint had to do with the texture and cooking style of the, quote, fresh shrimp that was promised upon advertisement. Many of the guests' online reviews specifically mentioned that the shrimp was undercooked, rubbery, and tasted flash frozen. By collecting the various reviews, we were able to accurately contrast the data and begin to develop a finalized ServQual model. To the left, we can see a representation of the proportion of negative reviews reflected against its respective positive categories in order to determine which were the 3 major recurring factors mentioned within the complaints made by the guests. The top-ranked negative service quality factor was that of food quality. Quality of the shrimp in that it tasted old and overcooked on the shrimp platter was the major complaint among guest reviews. Guests also remarked that this was a misrepresentation of the Mambo's marketing campaign to provide fresh seafood to their guests. Second was lack of customer etiquette. Many customers remarked at how managers were unable to resolve conflict in the form of unsatisfactory apologies from the waitstaff and also not being compensated for incorrect orders or poor service. Lastly, we saw many complaints regarding the issue of time management. Many guests remarked how the urgency of the servers during slower hours of the day did not compare to their peak hours. Some also noted how servers would be chatting amongst coworkers or texting on their phones during a shift while hot food was ready and waiting on the heat rack. After this collection of data, our team could accurately form a gap analysis. This type of analysis is used to identify the gap between customer expectations and customer perception. Beginning with gap 1, this can either be an incorrect expectation or a design failure, while gap 2 is the crucial failure in the delivery of the service or the perception of the service received. We found that food quality and time management were both a gap 1 and a gap 2 failure, while customer etiquette was only a gap 2 failure. With the conclusion of the gap analysis and successful identification of the top 3 problems at the Mambo's 290 and Tidwell location, our team is now able to provide our constructive solutions to these issues. Problem number 1 is the inability to resolve customers' conflict with upset guests. This could be a result of not having a clear protocol for managers on conflict resolution strategies, or perhaps a lack of training for new and current managers. We suggest creating service recovery guidelines which clearly identify what course of action should be taken in different situations regarding management and consumer interactions. Problem number 2 is the lack of responsiveness from the waitstaff. Mambo Seafood is a fast-paced restaurant with a high table turnover. Some groups can be unintentionally ignored or get served behind even though they were seated first. We recommend incorporating tablets or ordering applications to manage tasks for server use. This would help to eliminate customers being served out of order and also give the waitstaff a versatile tool to help get hot food on the table faster. Problem number 3 is the food quality of the Mambo shrimp. Many reviews have shown the inadequate quality of the shrimp being delivered to the customers that was previously advertised to be, quote, fresh. We recommend that the general or kitchen manager address this issue to the cooks. A good solution would be random checks of dishes before they are sent out to customers in order to make sure that the cooking standards of Mambo Seafood are being upheld. In addition, we recommend that a jumbo-sized option for shrimp be added to the menu in order to meet customer expectations of a large portion size. Having a training session for all new and current cooks is also strongly recommended to be sure that the shrimp cooking procedure is securely outlined. We would like to thank everyone for listening here today and also give our special thanks to Mr. Robert McKinley and to the staff of the 290 and Tidwell location for assisting the graduate students of the University of Houston's Conrad N. Hilton College of Hotel and Restaurant Management in this study. Thank you.